Hello, I'm UKTK Mendis, student ID 2019176. This is my week 1 assignment for corporate governance for the subject of learning and managing organizational resources. This is the content of this presentation. So we will start with what is corporate governance, the theories associated to corporate governance, guidelines, principle, stakeholders, then finally we will wind up with references. Here I have listed few definitions for corporate governance. First one is from Cadbury Committee. It says the system by which companies are directed and controlled. And second one is from IFC. It says the relationship among the management, board of directors, controlling shareholders, minority shareholders, and other stakeholders. The final one is from Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It says corporate governance involves a set of relationships between a company's management, its board, its shareholders, and other stakeholders. And corporate governance also provides a structure through which the objectives of the company are set and means of attaining those objectives and monitoring performance are determined. Okay, now let's see why corporate governance is needed. One is increased shareholders' wealth. Shareholders are the set of people who have invested money on any organization, expecting long-term wealth generation and recognition for the money they have invested. And they have appointment set of people called directors, expecting manage the organization on behalf of shareholders and generate their expectation. So being human being, the directors are also having their personal objective, which is increase their personal wealth. And one objective of corporate governance is bring these both parties together and meet ultimate objective, which is increase shareholders' wealth and through that increase directors' personal wealth as well. In contemporary business environment, corporate governance has gone beyond just ensuring shareholders' wealth. It has gone to sustainability aspect as well. So now it's not just profit, it's people and planet as well. Because world is a very connected world. If people found out that our company is not ensuring people and planet, then people will start reject our company. Because of this, nowadays companies are investing heavily on these certificates like FSC, Lapping Bunny, Fair Trade, and many ISO certifications because people have to ensure, people have to show the world that they are more sustainable than ensuring profits only. So, given that, let's see about has anything gone wrong in the field of corporate governance so far? So here I have given four companies: Enron, Toshiba, Wells Fargo, and Carillon. So from out of this, Enron and Carillon are not in the business anymore because they could not manage their corporate governance properly. Because of that, now they are out of the business. And Toshiba and Wells Fargo, they could not manage their corporate governance properly. They had a huge black mark on their brand names. So with that, let's move to theories associated to corporate governance. So there are basically 6 theories, but I'm not going to go into details of each and every theory. These theories are agency theory, stewardship theory, resource dependency theory, stakeholder theory, transaction cost theory, and political theory. So out of this agency theory and stewardship theory, basically looking at internal shareholders, and others are having big broader view, which talks about external shareholders as well. So guidelines are the paths available for an organization to form up their corporate governance practices and codes. So under this, I have given two categories. One is internal, other one is external. Under internal, I have listed structure and corporate governance code. The structure is nothing but the organizational hierarchy, which is changing from one organization to another. And corporate governance code is an internal code which a company can come up with. A company can come up with any corporate governance code as long as it's within the framework of parameters. And the other category is external category. Under external, I have given law and the code. Law is the law set by the constitution of the country which the organization is operating, and other one is the code. Code is the set of frameworks which the company has to follow. So if we look at these frameworks, we have a UK framework which is basically unit-tier system, and Germany we have a multi-tier system, and Japan we have a hybrid system. And if we talk about USA we have a legal based system. It means if you have done something wrong, you have to go in front of court and justify yourself. And the other category is from OECD. In OECD, we have a principle based system where you don't have to go to a court, but you are bound by the principle to comply with the codes given by OECD. With that, we have moved to principles of corporate governance. Under principles of corporate governance, we have shareholders interest. As we discussed earlier, shareholders are the people who have invested money on the organization and they are expecting return on their investment. And the second one is, as the owners of the organization, shareholders are appointing directors to run the organization on behalf of them, and they are ensuring power of appointment and power of rewards for these directors that they are appointing. And to ensure about two aspects are met, we have independency as a principle of corporate governance. Under independency, we have NEDs. NEDs are the non-executive directors. Non-executive directors are part of the director board whom doesn't have direct operational responsibility, and they are working directly on behalf of shareholders in the board of directors. And second one is a remuneration committee. We have a committee who decide the remuneration to be given for the directors of the organization. Another one is audit committee. Audit committee is there to ensure that companies' financial policies and financial reportings are as per with the set standard. And finally, we have nomination committee. Nomination committee is the committee where the nominating the board of directors are taken care. With that, we are moving to another very important part of corporate governance principles, which is ethics. As we know, the organization is having a individuality in the society. So as any individual in the society, the organization is also bound to do good to the society. So I have given a definition given by Richard Powell and Linda Elder. It says a set of concepts and principles that guides us in determining what behavior helps or harms sentient creatures. So in ethics, there are a lot of areas. It says right, fairness, responsibility, choice, honor, value, integrity, moral, principles. So basically, ethics is doing the right thing to the society and all the related parties. CSR or corporate social responsibility is another very important aspect of ethics. When a company, when an organization operates in the environment, it draws resources in order to survive and sustain in the environment. It draws resources both from sociological and ecological environment. So any organization has an obligation toward this environment, which is drain resources to survive. So fulfilling this obligation, it's what we call as CSR. So here I have given a definition given by Mr. Howard Brown in 1953, and Howard Brown is the person who we know today as the father of CSR. So he has stated the CSR is the obligations of businessmen to pursue those policies, to make those decisions, or to follow those lines of actions which are describable in terms of objectives and values of our society. So this is how we described it in 1953. But I would like to bring up something, bring a definition which is very recent, which was given by Dr. Thomas Breshner. He has stated that CSR is not about how we spend our profit, and it is all about how we earn our profits. It says we should monitor, we should ensure our responsibility toward this environment is in everything we do in our day-to-day operation and in the business that we are in. So that is how we should look at CSR, not how we spend our profits. So actually in today contemporary world, there are two ways of looking at CSR, actually two views towards CSR. One is shareholders approach, which is basically argued by Mr. Milton Friedman. He said that the only responsibility an organization is having to increase the wealth of shareholders by acting within the legal framework of the country. And further, he argued that when the company increase the wealth of shareholders, shareholders can go out to the society and do whatever good they want to society. So as a result, the level of society will go up. So that is one way of looking at it. And another way is stakeholder approach. The stakeholder approach is the most common approach in the contemporary environment, which is looking at entire stakeholders and try to improve living conditions of the entire stakeholders. So these are the two ways of looking at corporate social responsibility. Anyway, however, it does good to the society. With that, we are moving to the last part of presentation, which is stakeholders. Actually, and stakeholder is a party that has an interest in an organization and can either affect or be impacted by the company. So that is how we define stakeholders. And there are two categories of stakeholders. One is internal and other one is external. The internal stakeholders are the entities within the organization who affected by the actions of the business, actions of the company. So basically they are managers, workers, trade unions, and other people who are working in the organization. And other category is external category. External category is the entities outside the organization, but if still affected by the actions of the business. So under this category, we have customers and suppliers, government, society, auditors, and most importantly, shareholders as well. So a company must ensure that company satisfy or fulfill or take care all these stakeholders in order to long-term sustainability. And to do that, I suggest a company can use or adapt that shareholder matrix theory introduced by Eden and Farron. With that, we have reached the end of the presentation. Thank you, and the references are given after this slide.